What's going on, guys? It's been a while since I've made a review on the channel. My lamp is, as you can see, not the best. But anyways, so the Transformers Kingdom line is pristine, and I wanted to dip my toes into it, so I went to Walmart the other day and I bought the Kingdom Optimus Primal. Now, this guy's gorilla, whatever mode, monkey mode, funny monkey mode, is pretty good in my opinion. I think for the way the transformation is and how simple the transformation is, I think we end up with a pretty good looking gorilla mode here, which is pretty cool overall. His accessories are his weapons, which they look nice. We'll get into them a bit later in the robot mode. Well, they can be used here because the hands are like the exact same as they are in robot mode, so you can have a gorilla with swords because he's gorilla to spin because he is indeed gorilla to spin bud. Anyways, let's go ahead and take these out and go over the gorilla mode's posability. I would do a few size comparisons, but all my other figures are in storage currently, so I can't really do that. But the detail is a very nice rough fur detail on this guy. The legs, as you can tell, they are a bit weird, but they are there. And they look okay from the front, but if you kind of turn him and get a nice side look, it's... Oh, I forgot to flip down this part. Hold up. Get a side look. It's a bit weird, but the detailing is genuinely amazing on this guy. It's just getting an all nice look at it here. It looks amazing, even down to the feet on the gorilla. It's really good. The head sculpt here. I don't have a tripod, so we're working with whatever here. The head sculpt for the gorilla is amazing. I like the nice. They picked a weird eye color, but I think it works. But yeah, turning around to the back, they tried to hide the kibble and the robot junk. They tried, and they did a decent job. But I don't think you're going to be displaying him like this, you know. But yeah, so there. Before we get into the transformation, there is a four-legged mode, which you do by pushing those out and back, which for some reason this is considered a different mode. Lifting up the head and positioning the arms, however. The joints are very tight on this guy, for the most part at least. But now you have four-legged gorilla, which is, or well, yeah, yes, I can English. Anyways, we have his four-legged mode, which looks all right. it looks okay, but so to transform him into the robot mode, we basically have to straighten these out. So putting him in that does help, like that. And you could honestly have him like that, but then he looks a bit too tall. But, you know, we'll work with it. Anyways, straighten the legs out, come to the feet, fold this part down, take this entire panel section, take it, flip it up, turn it, and then there is a peg hole in there, and you plug that in to form a backpack. And we're going to take the waist, rotate it around, and now here comes the most complicated, or the hardest section. I feel like I'm going to break it every time I do this. You have to take this, you have to take his back, and you have to pull insanely hard to get it out. But what I like to do is I like to take this and use the force of this to push it out, like that. So then you pull that out, you take the gorilla head, rotate it around, fold it in, like that, rotate this whole section, make sure this is lined up correctly, and you fold that in, and you kind of just situate it and push it in. And then we're almost done here. You have to take these sections and you have to fold them up, which you feel like you're going to, yet again, break the figure every time you do it. And then situate everything, if I can. And we have Optimus Primal in his robot mode. And I just have to say, I love this figure. I love this thing's robot mode. It genuinely looks like it just popped out of the screen, but with a bit more detail. That's what I like about it. It just captures a lot of great detail aspects on it, and I figured the paint chipping, all the paint here would be chipping by now, but if you can see, it's really not an issue. The paint is very, very pristine paint, and it's overall just a great looking figure, but the question is it fun to handle? And for the most part, yes. I feel like the arm swivels are way too loose for my taste. They're way too loose. The legs are perfectly alright for the most part, but this one has a issue where it is pretty loose as well, but it's still a Hasbro figure. It's not like a Masterpiece Takara Tomy figure, like a third-party figure, so I don't expect everything to be perfect, but, you know, yeah, I am reviewing it, so I do have to nitpick everything. But, anyways, let's go ahead and arm him up with his swords, I guess we'll call them, blades, and yeah, this thing just looks amazing. And yeah, there's not much more that can be said about this guy. He just overall is an amazing looking figure. But before we get into his posability, there is one more thing we need to take a look at here. And that is, come down to these little, I guess you could call them buttons. And just, my fingers are big, so it's pretty hard to do that. But a lot of the times, I just take the sword and you just push them to reveal little arm blasters here, which I believe are show accurate, but I haven't seen much Beast Wars, so I don't really know, but you can do a cool little pose like that with the arm blasters, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. I think that's a nice inclusion they added, because this is basically, like, from looking at it, this is basically just the Masterpiece one, but it used the CGI model as a base, and that's what I love they're doing. With all the Beast Wars figures, they basically took the original design as a base and kind of molded that into whatever they wanted to make. And that's a prime example here with this figure. Ironic, I said prime, funny. Anyways, but yeah, the posability is great. I'm pretty sure it is a ball joint. The head is on a ball joint, but it can't look up very far or it can't look down very far. The arms can swivel all the way around. Arms go out, swivel at the pretty loose swivel at the elbow, bend at the elbow, and then you have a wrist swivel as well. Anyways, there is a rotation at the waist. The legs are on a weird kind of ball joint swivel system here, which is pretty cool. There's double jointed knees, but you can't really take advantage of them because of all the booty kibble with the little butt flap he has for some reason. But there's a swivel at, like, the lower thigh, which is insanely tight. I feel like I'm going to break it. Like, a lot of the figure's joints are so tight that I genuinely feel like I'm going to break them. Other than, like, the arm issue I was talking about earlier. And foot pivot, no real foot articulation other than that. But what you're given with, the posability here is actually amazing, and you can get this guy into some amazing poses, especially with his weapon, or with his weapons. But yeah, overall, this figure, I'd have to give it like an 8 out of 10 ranking if I have to rank it by anything, because this thing is basically the masterpiece one, just TBH a bit better. TBH a bit better, but anyways, that's gonna wrap up the review here, and thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow, totally tomorrow.